I was involved in, I was technical fellow for the advertising platform at Microsoft, and I was involved before starting, before being involved in helping to start the Verus project. I was working with companies that were kind of working to try and blend blockchain and advertising. And one thing that I learned through that process is that
Meet the digital snooper. It can be your internet service provider peeking at what you do online, or a cyber criminal on a mission to snitch your credit card info, or a hacker at the next table trying to steal your sensitive data. Don't worry, NordVPN keeps all these snoopers away. It makes your internet activity private, protects you from accessing dangerous websites, and lets you enjoy your favorite content securely, even while away from home. Internet security is that easy.
The amount of fraud in advertising is way higher than people would probably expect, in terms of, if you are going to have advertising. I don't know if that is your plan, but if you do have advertising, which I guess you might at some point, do you believe that blockchain is going to help you to really identify the real people who advertisers want to reach, rather than have an advertising system that is kind of in the same category of the systems today, which I think all of them, even the major networks, suffer from fraudulent click-throughs, fraudulent views, these kinds of things. Do you have any insight there?
You mean like bots and click farms, Michael?
Yeah. Bots, click farms, phone farms, this type of thing.
Yes, I think that we do have the possibility with BitTube. One thing is we are discussing with the community in the moment if we should have advertising, in which way the community would accept advertising. So this is a discussion we do inside the community. And then on the other side, if you see our airtime system, where the visitors earning the tubes with the airtime system, in this case, we know, are they real people, are they bots or whatever? And therefore, it's especially possible to identify the users if they are real visitors, and probably also.
Right. That's actually exactly what I was wondering. And I was wondering, because you mentioned about this, how long they're on, and I was wondering, it would be pretty cool to be able to take that data, sign it by BitTube, and give it to the users so that they could actually, if you go on Google or you go on YouTube, you're going to get, or any kind of a major big data advertising network, it's going to be collecting all this data about everything you're doing. And everybody, the servers do this. They're going to collect all this data. And the idea behind VERUS ID is that if you're collecting information about how long people are staying online or these kinds of things, you could actually give them some of that information as signed information that they could share. So they could browse on BitTube, they could share it, and it might say they spend this amount of time watching these kinds of videos, or this amount of time, or it might give data that on a more centralized system, they might be giving up without any reward. Whereas on a decentralized system, maybe you're able to really continue to get more information about a user through their ID, but give that information to them so that they can choose to show it and maybe earn more when they show it in some way,
There might be possibilities which are always connected with the airtime model, which the users use, where they have the full control about their data.
Yes, that's something definitely to be explored.
So they could basically take the airtime, BitTube's airtime data, and that could actually be provided to them in a way that would allow them to have that kind of validation of their identity as being a real identity, validated by BitTube, but not something they have to share unless they want to.
Yes.
It could actually be seen as a valuable thing that BitTube could provide them through the ID, over and above any other value.
Yep, very good, very good. And then what I'm going to do, I'll connect you guys by Discord. Veruscoin is on Discord, and Tube BitTube is on Discord, which makes life easy, right? And you
Right.
can play whatever discussions you want. There's one other thing that I think might be useful that Veruscoin offers, which is it's a secure voting system, secure, anonymous, can't be corrupted voting system. Because I know a few weeks ago, Saber asked on the BitTube channel if people wanted to have advertising or not. But using Veruscoin, this might be something that could be available to BitTube throughout the platform. You know, if BitTube wanted to do particular polls and stuff, is that something? I mean, how would that look, Michael?
So my view on that, and look, I am 100% believer in what we're doing in Veruscoin, and as lead dev, I'm going to try and help people understand where it can be used, but I wouldn't necessarily want to force as they say, a round peg into a square hole, because in a case like this, I would say when what Verus enables is truly confidential, transparent, and verifiable polls and elections. If what BitTube wants to do is really have industrial strength, confidential, verifiable, and transparent polls, then I would say yes, that would make sense to leverage the Verus IDs and do that. But my belief, just thinking about it from BitTube's perspective, is that they probably already have some kind of an anchor for every user on BitTube. Verus ID could be another way that they could provide an anchor, but they probably have an anchor for every single logged in user, and they would probably have a way themselves to poll their users that would be the same kind of like development challenge, but they probably, if they were going to do it themselves and they didn't care about having all of this rigor, the really strong confidential, verifiable, transparent underneath that's the auditability and all this, they might actually choose to do it on their own platform in an easier way, because they wouldn't need to, like, maybe they're running polls to find out things for themselves. If they want to get the really, like I said, industrial strength, confidential, verifiable, and transparent polls and elections, then absolutely we could talk about leveraging Verus for that. But my suspicion is, for their normal business needs and for their normal kind of querying their user base and things like that, they might not need that because they're developers creating experiences. And my guess is that they wouldn't necessarily need that that kind of underlying engine of voting and polls and power underneath, because they could probably do it
themselves. I got it.
But thank you for asking that, and I'd be happy to talk about how this could be used for a lot of cases where it's just the best technology. In this particular case, I would say, that would just depend on how strong they wanted the underlying foundation to be for that function.
Yes, and it may not be necessary for that, right?
Yeah.
Kai, anything you want to say?
No, I think that's it. But on this poll system, I think, it looks a little bit oversized for the things we would ask the community. Sure. But it sounds very interesting.
Yes, sure. Now, I want to say something about the ethos of both companies, of both projects, rather, not companies, which is one that in BitTube, who makes the money are those that hold the tube coins. As more and more content creators and more viewers come onto the BitTube channel, and there's greater liquidity with the tube coin, and more people are transacting with tube coin, the ones that hold the tube coin, the value of it goes up. So that's decentralized. And then with Veruscoin, the IDs, you have to pay for the IDs. There may be other services that you need to pay. Those are distributed to the miners and the stakers, which is pretty much anybody who's got a spare computer that they can start running, mining and staking Veruscoin. So in both that regard, the profits accrue to the tube coin holders.
I would so my guess, and I think it's reasonable to hear that that the BitTube project was launched with no ICO and no pre-mine. I'm very happy to hear that, and my assumption would be that BitTube has a business model on top of that, so that, because I understand BitTube is a business, just like we would have businesses running on Verus, but Verus is not a business. So they're really, I don't think that even if they are, Verus is a protocol, a project, a network, a cryptocurrency, but it is not a business. So who makes the money in BitTube? I sure hope that BitTube makes money, because they're a business, and I'm sure they do have some kind of a business model for making money on the blockchain using the BitTube currency. But Verus doesn't have a business model because it's not a business. There's not a company, and so there are companies that could be, for example, there is not a BitTube right now on Verus, but a company like BitTube could leverage Verus the same way that it leverages, its blockchain today, or in other ways that might be possible with Verus. And so when you buy an ID, I think it's important to help people understand there is not a company you're buying that from, and there is no profit model for any organization at all. For what happens there, what happens is, if I refer you, so a normal ID costs 100 Verus. If I buy an ID for 100 Verus without any referral, that 100 Verus goes 100% to the miner or the staker who mines the block of that Verus, of that where that ID gets mined into the blockchain. If I get a referral, so for example, if someone refers me with their own name and I use that referral, I pay 80 Verus, not 100. And that's because there really is no business model. It's more about having a protocol that really works for people. So where does that 80 go? 20 of that 80 goes to the person who referred me, and the remaining 60 goes to the miner or the staker that mines that into the blockchain. But again, there is none of it goes to the lead dev, none of it goes to the Veruscoin Foundation, because there is not a business and a profit model behind the blockchain. We expect companies like BitTube, to build above leveraging that protocol. And it sounds like that's really what BitTube did, BitTube.tv did, with their own blockchain as well, is basically have an underlying system that enables you to do things on the blockchain and blockchain functions, and then build a business above that. And so we actually believe that there will be many, many businesses using Verus, but I think it's comparing apples to oranges, because on one hand, we're talking about the underlying protocol and the blockchain, and we would be happy to have BitTube, on the Verus ecosystem with its exact same business model. Even, we have a model for allowing the BitTube currency actually to even potentially move over. I'm not saying that they will, but what I'm saying is that we are a project, and Verus I see as a protocol that could be a worldwide protocol that can host almost unlimited number of businesses and government efforts and all sorts of organizational, things, because it's actually a scalable platform that scales to an unlimited number of blockchains that all interoperate and work together. And so I think that the parallels on the ethos may be more apt than a parallel on the two projects being the same, because I think one is rightfully a business that needs a model in order to create this social experience around video that connects to the blockchain. And one is really a project to develop the core underlying protocols that we believe are needed for the world to have an internet of blockchains, basically.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you. Thank you for the clarity there. And I listened to it a little bit like how Linux is. Verus is doing something,
I think that's a fair comparison.
Yeah. Okay. So Kai, there are going to be people who don't know about BitTube coming over from the Veruscoin and also from elsewhere. Anything you want to let people know about BitTube and how it might support Veruscoin or the Veruscoin community?
Yeah, one thing we spoke about it is that BitTube offers this BitTube TV platform as one of the as one of the products we are building on top of the system, where the community can show their videos, use the videos, use the video platform to monetize the videos. So that's one of the things. And the other thing is we do have this airtime model where we have the possibility also to include this in the own systems of the other users, into other web pages or other systems, and use then the airtime protocol to monetize their other pages. So it's not limited to the BitTube TV. The BitTube TV is one of the showcases, it's one of the products, but it can be used in every system where you have user interaction and where you are able to detect the time of the user interactions and monetize these time with tube coins.
Yes,
that sounds really interesting, and I think that's where that's actually where a lot of the big value will emerge. And I would love to talk to people about a way, like your thinking around what to do with that data and how the users might be able to leverage that data, and maybe making it available through VERUS ID for the benefit of users and also BitTube. That would be really interesting to talk about.
Yes, very good, very good. And just to make it a little bit clearer, Kai, so for people watching, if they register with the airtime module, it's a little extension. I have it on my Brave browser. It counts how many hours I'm on the internet, not necessarily BitTube, but just on the internet, and then I get rewarded a couple of tube coins every day. Plus, also, I could go to your Twitter feed, Kai, and then I can, assuming you have one, I can pay you in tube coins or something because I like one of your tweets. I can do that to your YouTube channel or your Facebook page or your Instagram account, right?
Correct.
And it comes out of my airtime application. And then plus also, if you I would invite people on part of the Veruscoin community to start posting their videos on BitTube.tv so they don't get culled in a future purge of cryptocurrencies by YouTube, should that happen again. Who knows, right? So your videos stay here, people discover. This platform will get larger, as I think the competitors to YouTube will. There are others. And then also, if you like this video, you like the work I do, you could reward me in tube coins. And then if I like your comments, I could reward you in tube coins. So you get this economy. And it's not just a video platform. There's also audio podcasts. What else do people do? You can have blog posts on it. And it's going to be, I don't know, multiverse. Many, many applications. I only know about the videos because that's all I do on BitTube.
Yeah, it's not limited to videos, but videos, I think, it's the most active part in the moment.
Yes. Okay, all right.
So I think it would be really interesting. Verus, so after having and starting a social network with video and other things, and then having that purchase, I was thinking deeply about VERUS ID being used for social networking and for connecting people. And so I think it would really be interesting to connect with the right people at BitTube and talk about how we might be able to blend those technologies.
Yes, very good, very good. That will be very interesting, right? And there's something I want to say right at the end. Is there anything else either of you want to say or ask of each other before we finish up?
Thank you, Kai.
Yeah, thank you to you.
Thanks, cryptorich.
Yeah, you're both welcome. And I'll have the links in the description below. Go pop over from one Discord channel to the other Discord channel and say hi. I am in both. And the other thing I want to let you know that's coming down, I'm going to do a video about this in a couple of weeks' time, but Komodo this twists my head, Michael. Komodo are in the process of working out video streaming on the blockchain. And JL777, who's the lead developer of Komodo, he's actually tested it. So I don't know how that will work out. It sounds impossible. Another one of those impossible feats from the Komodo ecosystem. Gentlemen, thank you both for making yourselves available. Thank you, everybody who's into BitTube. Go check out Veruscoin. If you're into Veruscoin, go check out BitTube. If you're into neither, check them both out. And if you're into both, well, lucky you. And between now and when I see you next, please keep filling your pockets with crypto profits. This is Crypto Rich and Crypto Michael and Crypto Kai signing out. All the best. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.